What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with the League Racing Championship I'm taking part in, Aussie Sim Racing. This time we're here for the Monaco Grand Prix, and you guys need absolutely no introduction to this racetrack. You know how much this place means to me, and yeah, basically the goal, win the race. That is essentially what I'm going for this week. I put in so many hours of preparation, so much so to the fact that I almost nearly broke into the top 10 in terms of the time trial leaderboards. If I would have had, I don't know, another hour before the race, I would have got in there. It was just a case of nailing a lap together, which I know I could have done. Just ran out of time in the end. But as you can see there's the driver's standings. We're not going to win the championship now. I said this, many weeks back, but now it's absolutely confirmed now because I'm going to Abu Dhabi next week. I'm going to be missing the race after Canada, which I believe is Baku, so there's absolutely no way for us to recover. So my goal now for the rest of the season is to enjoy the races that I have left, that I'm taking part in, and to try and get as many race wins as I can, and this is one of them that I want to get a race win in. Unfortunately, it is raining for this session. I did all of the practice I did, all the practice races, qualifying, time trial, it was all in the dry. I have not done any laps in the wet, so I'm essentially going for, a normal dry setup, 100%, uncompromised. And we'll see how we go. You can see at the moment I'm really struggling for grip. Sometimes some tracks I can be on the pace when it comes to wet weather driving, but sometimes, like in this instance today, really struggling. I had no confidence under brakes. The tires were sliding out everywhere. I really had to look after the car, and I really thought that this setup would work because I'm running with 1111 wings. For this setup. So I thought, the tires will be fine. There's enough downforce to push the car into the road. It'll be fine. But, yeah, as you can see, we're clearly struggling. Dominator sets at 122.6 to go provisional pole position. We're currently up by 0.6 on our previous best, which was a corner cut at the final chicane. So, a little bit unfortunate to lose that. But at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world because we're constantly going to move that marker forward as the track dries up, and it may even go dry towards the end of the session. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, initially we go P5. I returned back to the pit lane because the next lap after that was pretty average, and I felt like the best of the conditions were pretty much over for the intermediate tires. You can see the delta between dry tires and inters was literally nothing, 2 seconds. So you wait 3 or 4 minutes and the dry tires will probably start to come through quite nicely. So as we come to about 3 minutes to go in this session, just having a look at my setup, just refining things a little bit. I thought I'd wind back the brake pressure a little bit so I had more confidence under brakes, and now we can see the intermediate tires are slower than the ultra soft tires. So we're going to go out there now on a set of dry tires, and essentially this is going to be like I don't know if you see it like in V8 Supercars, like a top 10 shootout. Like literally you get one lap to set your lap and be, placing yourself on the grid for the Monaco Grand Prix. So there was an intense amount of pressure for this final minute here. And Monaco as well, like the most important place on the Formula 1 calendar to qualify at the front. Like, I didn't want to be in the midfield. Like, that was the last place I wanted to be. I would rather be last than, like, 10th, for example. So a lot of pressure on me to get this lap in the books. And as you can see here, we're not really timed this well because the track is still drying. It's going to improve for the next 5-10 minutes at least. But we're actually going to be one of the first to cross the line and start our lap, which is not ideal. I tried to slow it down a little bit so I could wait for the track to dry up a little bit. I wanted to actually get 2 laps in, but I realized that I just completely got the timing wrong, and I just have to go out there and deal with the consequences. So through turn 1, we've already gained 3/10 despite Fitcho coming out of the pit lane with 40 seconds left to go. That was a bit pointless. A little bit of a distraction, but overall, it's fine. But yeah, as we start this lap, I wasn't really pushing on the out lap. I got a general feel of what the grip was like, but that's changed in the last minute or two. And so the marker is just consistently kind of being moved in a way. So I was kind of guesstimating how much grip there was. Essentially, I just wanted to get a lap in just to see where it would put us. Of course, we're purple at this stage, one of the first to, go through on the dry tires. So, of course, we're going to be fairly quick. But as we can see right now, we might only just sneak into the teens in terms of, like, overall lap time. And, the times that you want to be setting in optimal dry conditions is, like low 10s. So, we're definitely not going to be anywhere near that as we go through Tabac. Really sketchy through there. Again, we're just going really kind of cautious, just trying to get the lap in. Max fuel mixture throughout the entire lap, which, you know, induces a little bit of wheel spin, but the time gain for straight line speed is probably worth it. We open the DRS up to the line. It's been a very clean lap, and I think this will get us pole position for the moment. And I say for the moment because everyone else is still yet to complete their laps. There's like New Zealand Ryan, who's going through the back part of the circuit now as we cut a minute later. I believe he's going purple to the middle sector intermediate. He's actually hit the wall for the second time on this lap and now has an orange front wing, I believe. But yeah, we still retain the lead, or like provisional pole position at the moment, despite a lot of people completing their laps. Joe's second, Fens has gone to pole position, and I think New Zealand Ryan slotted into second. So in the end there, despite setting my lap like a minute before everyone else in probably the worst conditions in terms of like a drying track, I'm very happy to get third place. I mean, obviously not happy to not be on pole, but considering how early in the session I set my lap, I think that's a pretty solid effort. The rest of the guys behind Ginger Horizon weren't actually able to get a time in on the intermediate tyres, or they were just slower, which is quite interesting. But yeah, here we are on the grid for the Monaco Grand Prix, starting third place. Obviously, it's not a disaster. We can still challenge from here, but ideally, I'd love to be on the front row. So we've got a lot of work to do in this Grand Prix. We've got to hope that the guys in front will make mistakes. You know, I kind of pride myself on not making mistakes around Monaco, as well as being very fast around here. Like, consistency wins you this race more than anything. So yeah, that's ultimately what I'm trying to do here. On this formation lap as well, I was getting a feeler of the conditions, because like how the car feels in the race is much different to what it will do in qualifying with low fuel on a very slippery and almost wet track. So I was getting my eye in and making sure that there were no surprises as we started this first lap. So yeah, pressure is on. This is the race I want to win above all else, and I've been really quick here in practice races, time trial, everything. There's almost a bit of expectation as well that I win this race. So yeah, hoping that I can do well today as we line up on third on the grid. Fens on pole position as well. New Zealand Ryan right beside me as well, in second place. A lot of people around me are on controllers, with the exception of, oh my god, it's Joe. 5 red lights and away we go for this Monaco Grand Prix. It looks like an absolutely beastly start for New Zealand Ryan as he heads into turn 1. He's going to take the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix, and already at turn 1, our race is over. Brilliant. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Third through turn 1. On the exit of turn 1, we're last, with some front wing damage as well. It doesn't get any worse than this, and I almost should have been expecting this with the amount of laggy people around me. I think Joe was around me, and Brock Does Stuff was behind me as well. I'm going to say, before anyone gets angry, that I wasn't taken out, but over the course of this race, I thought I was taken out, and I thought it was taken out by Joe, who just dived in there. But I can confirm to you it was lag. Unfortunately, like, literally no one touched me. It's just one of the most frustrating things that has ever happened to me in a league race, and it just happened to happen at this place where I've done so much practice and should have been on pole position, should have been away from laggy cars, but that's not what has happened today. So to give you a bit of an insight into what my mindset was at this point in the race, I was furious. I was absolutely furious, and I wanted blood. Like, I literally did not care what happened for the rest of this race. So I kind of went out of like self-preservation mode, which I normally would do in Monaco, especially if I'm at the front. And so my mindset for the rest of this race was like literally just blaze on, like just go flat out 100%. Like, I'm not obviously going 100% right now because I've got front wing damage, and I was kind of getting used to that. But we caught up to the pack so quickly. We caught up to Greekmaster, who I believe has some front wing damage himself. My level of damage is orange. I can't say what Greekmaster's is. I think it's orange as well. Maybe even yellow, but we're trying to get really close to him, use a bit of fuel as well to get really close, and we got the inside into Mirabeau with some front wing damage. That is a nice and clean little move there, and props to Greekmaster as well for leaving the space there. We had a really nice battle in Spain, if you didn't see the last episode, go check that one out. But as you can see here, this is a replay of Problems for the Win. He's getting caught up with Brock Does Stuff, who was lagging everywhere. Really bad to put up with stuff like that, and that is even worse. That's unraceable for AOR. I don't even know who took him out, who that lag cut was. It might have been... it might have been Funkuru. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to go back and have a look at that, but still, a really horrible way to bow out of this race. At least I can say I'm still in the race and I can still challenge and show what I'm capable of, but still a very frustrating situation for a lot of people when the confines of the barriers are just so close, and there's laggy cars, a lot of impatient drivers. These things happen sometimes. That's a lap car getting in my way as well, so cheers to that guy. I think he was desynced as well, so don't completely blame him. That's Dominator setting the fastest lap in the race. I think that was a 12.9, so pretty solid pace. I know I can be in the mid-12s, maybe even low 12s in clear air and pushing on, so we're obviously not showing that at the moment as we're in the 15, so we're 3 seconds slower per lap than the race leaders. That's how much front wing damage we've got. Orange levels of damage at a high downforce circuit like this, where downforce is everything. We're losing so much, but I kind of wanted to press on because I still wanted to do the one stop. I didn't want to stop on the first lap, rejoin behind everyone because I had no track position at the end of the first lap. I kind of wanted to press on and just hold my position and wait for other people behind me who already pitted to kind of crash again, because there are people that just do that. Whenever they pit, change their front wing, they end up crashing again, and it turns into a bit of a downward spiral, which is so easy to do here at Monaco. I wanted to avoid that and just get on with my race and just deal with this front wing damage that we have at the moment. But yeah, we stretched this out all the way to lap 11. We're now being caught by Fitcho, who recently stopped, so I didn't want to hold him up and be a bit of a dick to him, so I'm diving into the pits, and this kind of coincides nicely with my pit window as well, because I wanted to stop slightly earlier to get this front wing changed and get onto the super soft tyres. Pit stop was pretty quick. Too quick, actually. We didn't get the front wing change. No front wing change. Absolutely brilliant. So for the rest of this race, we're going to have to struggle on with with an orange front wing again. So I didn't want to do that. I was 3 seconds lap slower. Like, if you do the maths over the next 20 or 30 laps, it's worth just pitting again and taking the damage, taking the pain and changing the front wing. So that's what I did. So essentially, we've thrown away 22, 23 seconds for the pit stop time, plus the front wing change, and plus all the time we lost in the first, 16 laps or 17 laps of this Grand Prix with the front wing damage. We're nearly a lap down. I will say that much. I was looking at New Zealand Ryan's footage, and at the time that I set a fastest lap at the end of this one, I was nearly a lap down. But yeah, now there's the first time in the entire race where I can actually show my pace, and I was kind of using all the anger that I had into channeling some fastest laps to kind of get myself back in the race, so to speak. But as we come across the line, you can see the fastest lap we do is a 12.6. Pretty good pace, to say the least. And I wasn't happy with that. I was going to just keep on going, blast as many purple laps in as what I could, and just show the rest of the field what I was capable of today if I just had a clean race. So we're P10 at the moment. The next guy in front of us is Chimcha, who we kind of rejoined just before our first pit stop, and so the gap is pretty ginormous to him. It's 12 seconds, so we've already caught him by 10 seconds in the last few laps of just pushing flat out. New Zealand Ryan is disconnected, which is unfortunate on his part. He's actually going to rejoin in the race, thankfully enough for him, so he won't hopefully lose points. He is in the lead, I believe, but he might have had a front wing loss at some point in the race, and he had to change that, and I think he lost first place to someone else. So yeah, interesting developments for the leaders at the moment. So yeah, at this stage, like I said, just absolutely cracking on at 100% pace. I did not care if I binned the car on the wall. Like, literally my race is pretty much over. We're in 10th place and only going to get 1 point. What's the harm in losing 1 point by pushing too hard and trying to catch the others? It's now 9th place as Fitcho disconnects, but yeah, in all my anger and pushing on, you can see how much trouble we've got ourselves in terms of the fuel. Like, just over 2 laps down on fuel. So at this point, we had to kind of back off from maximum attack and kind of conserve the car a little bit, especially conserve the fuel. So for the next, I don't know, 5 laps, I was just saving fuel, after the first sector split, right until we got to Portier, and then I'd save a little bit through the final couple of corners. But then I realized I wasn't really making much progress on the fuel saving side of things, so it took me until like lap 27-ish before I had to realize I've got to run lean revs everywhere. I've literally got to conserve so much if I want to make it to the end, because if I don't, I'm going to find myself in a YouTuber championship position where I run out of fuel with like a lap to go or something like that. So I definitely wanted to avoid that, especially now that we find ourselves in P5. I don't know how I've managed to get into P5. Maybe some people running really long into the race on super soft tyres have finally made their one and only stop, or maybe just more mistakes has found them out of the running. But we're getting up some replays now. This is New Zealand Ryan in the first stint. I believe he... Yeah, like I said earlier, he got some front wing damage in the first stint, lost the lead because of the front wing change, and then he disconnected, which made things even worse for him. And when he rejoined in the race, he got a 3-second time penalty, and his engine was completely stuffed. Like, it was showing like red damage, and it was smoking everywhere, like you can see there. But New Zealand Ryan came into my DMs and he said, like, literally it wasn't costing him any time, which was, you know, kind of good to see. But this is HO as well, getting struck with another glitch that was the barrier glitch we've seen on F1 2016, sometimes on 2017 as well, and that is really unfortunate that it's absolutely killed his front wing. Speaking of killing your front wing, Greekmaster bottles it pretty hard in the middle sector. I think he retired after that moment as well, and now this is Funk Guru diving up the inside of Poms to the win in the final stint of the Grand Prix up the inside. Very tight through there, and I think Alex might actually hold on here in the Salva. He has the inside for the next left-hander, but he actually hits the wall on approach and you know, further damages his front wing and concedes the position anyway. So yeah, pretty frustrating moment for Alex there, dropping to P6 I think it was. But as you can see now, this is Greekmaster rejoining just in front of me after making another pit stop. So that's what happened after he hit the wall in the middle sector. But this is all really awkward timing because I'm in the middle of really trying to save fuel, and I'd hazard a guess to say the Greekmaster is not in any kind of mood to just hang about and just chill. I think he wants to blast on there, so I let him go because I need to save fuel and I don't want to risk, you know, crashing or anything like that. And as you can see there, speaking of crashing, there goes Greekmaster into the barrier. So, wow. Oh, no, that's really bad. That is. I shouldn't laugh. That's really bad. We also let HO go as well. I've lost all concentration. So, like, in this time period, a lot of people who, like, recently just stopped, who are, like, many laps down, are, like, overtaking me, which, like, in theory, I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't let them go because I'm essentially, like, in the battle for the race. Like, I'm on the lead lap, and now we've actually caught up to HO again. He has to let me go back through again, so that was really frustrating. This is actually the point where I, like, managed to recover enough fuel to go at a natural pace again. So, life lesson, like, if someone is trying to unlap themselves, don't lap them. There's a reason why they're lap down, and like, if you're an idiot like me, then you're just going to cost yourself time, which I've definitely done by letting both Greekmaster go through and HO. Really costly amount of time I've lost there, but we've got 3 laps to go, and we're absolutely fine on fuel. It's now just a case of trying to catch Chimchar, and also iFens for the final spot on the podium, really pushing hard there through the casino square. Had to do a really late correction to avoid running into the barrier there, so good reactions there. But yeah, as you can see, we're absolutely pushing on with whatever tyres we have left. We've had them on for a good 20 laps now. I really put them through a lot of punishment in the early laps of this Grand Prix, or the early laps of this stint, sorry. But, I don't know, the last 10 laps have been pretty easy on them, so hopefully there is a little bit of life left in them. The rear tyres are going to feel a little bit, you know, on edge, but yeah, we're just going to absolutely give it everything if we can. We'll run lean revs through the slower speed corners as well, just to help with traction, but apart from that, we'll try and run rich where we can, but we still need to save a little bit because we occasionally drop into the red zone again, so yeah. We'll see what happens, but it's the final lap of the Grand Prix now. I'm still mega pissed off after what happened on the first lap with Joe and Brock, I think it was. But it was my understanding still at the time that I thought it was Joe who took me out. So, yeah, you can imagine I'm still really pissed off at this stage to like miss out on a win, so I wanted to make it up by potentially getting on the podium here. We can possibly dive up the inside of Chimchar there into the hairpin, but I know from career mode, if you dive it up there, you're going to lose so much time, and I wanted a shot at both of these guys on the final lap of this Grand Prix. You can see HO beats my fastest lap. I was not happy about that. What I was more pissed off about was Joe winning the race, who I thought took me out on the first lap, remember? So at this stage, mega pissed off. I wanted to get the podium, so as we go through the final chicane here, I did my absolute best to get a really nice exit through here, and we're going to dive up the inside into Rascas. We're squeezed into the barrier, and I think we've unintentionally squeezed off HO as well as we go through the final corner. That's not HO, that is Chimchar, but either way, it is P4 for the Monaco Grand Prix. We cross the line, and it ends up being position 3 due to time penalties for IFEN, so there we go, that is the Grand Prix. Somehow, after being last after the first corner, 2 pit stops, more I think just as many as anyone else, 1 useless pit stop as well, and doing half the race with a broken front wing, we have finished on the podium. Only just though. I mean, I'm sorry to Chimchar for the dive up the inside. I mean, I was far and alongside enough. I was just squeezed into the wall, and he kind of put me in there. So yeah, I was going to get third anyway, despite the penalties, because not only IFEN's had a penalty, but Chimchar had a penalty as well, but I didn't realise that at the time. So it's third place for the Monaco Grand Prix. We're finally going to have a look at the replays of what happened, because I kind of want to show this to you guys how I saw it, because I didn't see these replays until after the race had finished, when I was like, there's steam coming off my ears and everything like that. So here's Joe. From P4 on the grid, you can see he's on the outside. On my screen, I thought he was on the inside and just took me out, but as you can see there, it just looks like a gust of wind just escorts me to the side, and that was pretty much it. This is Brock does stuff up the inside. So out of the two, it's probably more likely to be Brock's car that's kind of lag bubbled me or something. And then, yeah, I had no momentum off the first corner, and then I got hit by someone else, and it was a bit of a domino effect. Lost my front wing, and you guys know the rest. So in the end there, third place, and only 35 seconds away from the lead, which I was really surprised about, because I did 2 pit stops. I did the first, I did half the race, lapping 2 or 3 seconds a lap slower than everyone else. So you do the maths, I would have lost about 30 seconds there, plus the 20 seconds for the additional pit stop. Yeah, I think we would have won that race by a little bit, in all honesty, but that's not the way it's gone. We had some bad luck. You know, some other people had bad luck as well. IFENs had some damage, I believe. New Zealand Ryan had the disconnect and then the penalty and stuff like that. So, you know, far from ideal for a lot of people, but in the end, that's our first podium. That is our first podium, and I think that's like our literally our worst race. An additional pit stop and all that stuff happening. It's just a bit funny, really. That like we can sometimes have a perfect race, but we're just not on the pace. And then we come to Monaco, have our worst race, and we're on the podium. It's just, it's pretty funny. But in the end, congrats to Joe. Just to make it absolutely clear, I was not taken out by anyone, so don't put your angry comments down in the comments. Like, if anything, probably get angry at me for like not getting my front wing changed in the first pit stop, because we could have got away with one less pit stop. That first pit stop we did was useless. So yeah, massive kick to the head for me, and I'll know next time to switch it to yes. When it was on auto, but I had orange level of damage, so I thought for sure the pit crew would have changed that. I guess not, which is a little bit annoying. But yeah, there we go. Congrats to Joe. Congrats to IFENS for getting pole position. And we'll move on to the next race in Canada, where hopefully we are on the podium. No, I've actually kicked Joe. I'm such a child. I'm sorry, Joe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I was pissed.